All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on the birth rates declining in the United Kingdom among so-called white people who we believe as Hebrew Israelites are the Edomites of the Bible. And the reason why I decided to make this video is because you're having all these protests about them complaining that they don't want to be a minority in their own country, yada, yada, yada. And then when you consider this, you're like, hang on, okay, but are you even producing children yourselves to make the numbers increase, right? Are you even actively trying to increase the numbers of your nation? Are they even actively among your people in mass? People that even want to have children? Do they even desire to have children? So I decided to ask the AI some questions to see what it came up with, man. And it says this, it says, yes, some people, oh, Salakia, that's another search that I did. Let me go down a bit, which that search was also interesting. I was asking whether people from the so-called far left have guns, and it ultimately was like, yeah, they have them. And one of the main things that boosted up their numbers in having these weapons was the C-19 lockdowns. But this is the part that I was actually looking for, but that's still relevant to mention because that was something else that I was looking into today as well. It says, yes, birth rates among white people in the UK are declining. This is part of a broader, longer-term trend of falling fertility rates across the United Kingdom population, particularly in England and Wales, which England's one of the main places complaining over in the United Kingdom, and Wales, which has been in decline since 2012. So they've been declining since the Olympic Games was held over here, which would have been a time where supposedly things weren't as bad. There wasn't nowhere near as much of a high inflation rate as there was now. In fact, in 2012, how far back that was. These Edomites are funny, man. Oh, snap. Yo, I'm watching, hey, so lucky. I'm watching one of these protests, and one of these Edomites literally tried to hit an officer with a double-leg takedown. Hey, so lucky these Edomites are losing it, man. Maybe they're going to put a prayer up and light a candle for CK, and he'll answer their prayers because he died for their sins, remember? We're starting to realize now that he died for their sins, you know what I mean? Maybe they'll ask the AI version of him to rebuke these, you know what I mean, officers for them. These Edomites are a joke, man. But let's get back to this. Some more stats on these Edomites, these Idumeans, man. Bloody hell. They're really bugging out, huh? And that's what I mean. They're trying to always make out like we're just hyper aggressive, all these Edomites, yeah. And was talking all this crap about the 2011 riots that happened over in the United Kingdom. But these protests that I've been seeing over in the UK are purely just purely E. I ain't seen no Jake. That's hardly any Israelites there in the first place, and all the violence is coming from E. They're being violent. It's clear. I've literally seen the footage, man. I'm looking at it right now. Man. I'm watching it right now with my two eyes, man. Them doing all kind of stuff, right? But let's get back to this, man. I ain't trying to get too distracted. It says, so yeah, these things was happening since 2012, and everyone that knows anything that's been over in the UK in 2012, the prices of things were way lower than they are now. 2012, I didn't even know I was an Israelite, man. I didn't even know nothing about the Bible. I didn't own a Bible. 2012, I didn't know nothing about none of this. My mind was thinking about completely different things in 2012, right? I thought that I was gonna go on to do some completely different things in my life. I was like, didn't know nothing about none of this stuff in 2012, man. I had no clue. I didn't have no clue. I didn't know about Great Millstone, and I'm not a member of Great Millstone, but I didn't know about Great Millstone in 2012. I was still eating pork in 2012. I had a damn goatee, beard, right? I had a goatee and a mustache. I had a skin fade haircut with a number 1 on the top. I didn't know. No, in fact, no, that's not even true. I had like a high top fade, man, in 2012. I didn't know nothing about anything to do with any of this, right? So 2012 was a completely different mindset. There hadn't been no lockdown in 2012. right? The Olympic game was coming to England in 2012, and the fertility rates were still dropping, and has been dropping since then. So they can't try and blame that on no immigration, man, because the immigration thing that they complained about was nowhere near as big of a deal back then. England hadn't gone through Brexit back then, so they're talking all this stuff, trying to blame everyone else. No, it's your fault, man. But let's carry on. It says decline in numbers and percentage between 2014 and 2019. The number of live births to white British mothers in England and Wales fell significantly from 435,000 to just over 370,000 annually. Now, whose fault's that? If you have children as an Edomite man, then that can't happen. That can't stop. But that's like what, almost 60,000. That's 65,000 different. That's 65,000 less, man. So those people would be like what now, about 10, 11. Those children born at the oldest, they would be like 11. At the youngest, they'd be like 6 years old, man. And who's stopping you from sleeping with a woman and having children? Who's stopping you other than yourself? As a share of total live births, the proportion fell from 65% to 61% during this period. The total fertility rate for England and Wales has since fallen to its lowest recorded level. Now, let's read this. Comparison with other ethnic groups. In contrast, the share of births to all ethnicities has been increasing. Now, this just proves that Esau is not about the scriptures, and that more everyone else on this earth is more keeping what Yahweh said than they are, because Yahweh said, right? Yahweh said, be fruitful and multiply. That's what Yahweh said, right? But obviously they didn't get the memo, because they ain't being fruitful and multiplying. They're being LG3T and going about the earth to make everybody else that, and demultiplying. They're putting in plans from their elites of coming up with plans to try and make out like the earth's overpopulated. Yeah, and even if they didn't give the so-called immigrants all of these different houses and all these places that they claim that they're giving them, they wouldn't be giving them to the you people either. They wouldn't give them to you. Let's carry on, man. Like even in the Olympic Games that took place in Brazil, right? Most of those apartments and things that they built up in that time, they didn't give it to the people that live over there then, and you make them have them spaces to live in. They'd rather keep it vacant, man. They'd rather keep it vacant and give it to you. That shows how much they care about you. Yet y'all want to complain. He says, although the total number of births to these groups remains smaller, younger age groups in the UK have a higher ethnic minority share than older age groups, with younger minority populations generally having higher birth rates, meaning we're getting it in more than y'all, man. So as much as y'all complain, why aren't you having children, though? All these other things you want to say, but you ain't even having the children anyway. You're complaining about other people having the children, but you still ain't having any. No matter what you say, you still ain't producing the numbers. It's not like no one's trying to depopulate you. No, you ain't even producing the numbers to increase your nation anyway. You're not doing it. You're not doing the physiological thing necessary to do it. You'd rather go up a woman's back passage if he's dealing with her than try and actually go the place that he's supposed to go, so that there's a chance that you could have children. Most of your women are actually harlots, man. And you know it too. You complain about other people making the women of their nation have a head wrap, but the women of your nation are moving like some complete fots, mate. Like, what the hell are they doing? They're moving absolutely ridiculous around here. Absolutely ridiculous, man. Let's carry on. It says, overall population trends. The decline in percentage of white British births, combined with higher birth rates among some immigrant communities and the younger profile of minorities, is a factor in the overall white British share of the UK population declining. Now, that's just simply a birthing. That's just simply them not having children. That's not nobody doing nothing to them. That's what they'll say. But if they was to really look, if everyone else can have children, and they're poorer than you, then you could have children, but you're just selfish. That's what it really is. You're just selfish and don't want to have children, man. And the information I've got here, which goes into that. Let's carry on, man. It says, I said, can immigration be blamed for this? It says, there is no evidence that immigration is responsible for the fall in birth rates among white people in the UK. Now, the reason why I had to ask it this is because people in the UK, they try and make out like that is a factor, but no one's stopping them from having children. It says factors driving birth rate falls. factors driving fall in birth rates, cost of living. Now, this is what the AI is saying, but still, if other people that are poorer are managing to have children, then you could have children if you wanted to because you've got more money than them. But you're not even doing that. You're not even having no children. And the other things it says is this: delayed parenthood. Many people, especially university educated women, are delaying having children to focus on their careers. Now, whose idea was it for women to be university educated? Wasn't it you Edomites? So now they're all bugging out, getting pink, weird coloured hairs, getting scepter nose rings, and being like, I don't want to have a child, more so worried about decentering men, becoming a feminist bug out, man. To the point where they don't even like their own men of their own nation, but that's part of the curses, man, that you have put on you people. Because the original plan of this depopulation thing was to be aimed at us, right? It was to be aimed at our people, but it's ended up falling upon you as well, right? Which y'all don't even want to have the do the necessarily work to have a child anyway. Y'all don't even want to. You don't want to, man. Let's carry on. He says social and cultural shifts, societal attitudes towards having children are changing. Now, whose idea is that? The whole so-called left wing was pushing for rights for women to unalive children in the womb, right? And the so-called right ain't really doing much different anyway. And this is all a thing that's between you Edomites, the right and left thing. That's an Edomite thing. Among so-called black people in particular, we don't separate ourselves with no right to left. We don't do that, man. Availability of contraception, the widespread availability of contraception and abortion, which became more accessible from the late 1960s onward, has also contributed to the long-term decline of fertility rates. Exactly, because though even in some cases those things have side effects, man. Those things have some long-lasting side effects that who knows even the depths of those things, man. Right? Who knows? But these are all Esau's things. Yet they're complaining about this and about that, but it's really them to blame, man. Right? It's really them to blame, and like people can look this information up for themselves and see, but they just like to complain about everybody else, but really it's their fault, man. Right? They go around trying to accuse us, the Hebrew Israelites, their own brother, right? That also is a descendant of Isaac. They try and blame us, but really they're to blame, man. And I'm going to end it there. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.